Hey guys, welcome back to Plex and Tech. Well, today on the channel, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be covering 6 things that a first-time DoorDasher should know. Because about a year ago, I started doing some door dashing on the side, and when I started doing that, I quickly realized, man, there's some things I really wish I had known before I started that could have maximized my earnings. So let's cover those 6 things. Number 1, have a way to keep your phone charged. Your phone is your lifeline. That is what you're going to use to accept your orders, decline your orders, navigate by GPS to where you're going to be going, and communicate with the customer. If your phone's about to die, you're going to have to stop dashing. And worst of all, what happens if it would go dead while you're in the middle of trying to make a delivery? So make sure you've got either a USB connection in your car you can use to charge your phone, or a power bank. You know, my phone doesn't have wireless charging, so if your car does have wireless charging, obviously you can just put it into the cradle and let it charge. But I have a power bank I used to use to charge my phone here in my old car, and when I got a new car, it has a USB connection that fast charges, so I just use the USB cable and keep it plugged in at all times whenever I am doing my door dashing. So it's very important you do that, because you may not think about that, and then all of a sudden you're out and you're busy and you realize your phone's about to die. What are you going to do? So you've got to make sure that you have a way to keep that phone charged. Number 2, track your mileage. In the United States, it's extremely important for delivery drivers to track the mileage, because you can deduct that on your tax returns. So it's essentially like you're deducting how much money you've actually made, so there's less taxable income. In the United States, they have a rate that it varies from year to year. The IRS adjusts. I think it's around 69 cents. Don't hold me to that. I have done my yearly taxes, but it was all TurboTax took care of all that for me. But I was able to submit all of that, and I recommend you use an app. You don't have to write it all down on paper in a logbook like you would have to do years ago. You can use a smartphone app. I use one called Stride. And whenever I start driving, it'll pop up and say, hey, it's detected motion. Are you working or not? You can also start it up before you actually start driving. And that's what I often do. That way you don't miss out on any of the driving at all. And you just use it when you're working with DoorDash, of course. There's only time that you're going to be using it. But it will log all that. And then what you do is each quarter, or whenever you're doing your taxes, you can have it email you each quarter's report, and I think it's like a comma or a comma separated value, and it's just a big long list of every time you drove and the total distance you drove. That's all you need. That's your proof that you can submit to the IRS if they ever become asking for it. So make sure that you log your mileage. Number 3, don't take trash orders. Don't take any order that's cruddy. Don't reward non-tippers and lowball tippers. Don't give those people incentive to keep ordering thinking they don't need to tip you. Don't be worried about declining a really bad order. Don't take them. At first, when you start out, you're so excited, you just want to do it, make money. You're worried, hey, if I turn down orders, do I not get other orders? I'm going to get penalized. No. Turn down orders that are not good. Do not reward lowball and no-tip orders. Let that food sit. Let that person realize they can't get by with this. If they get cold food, tough. Next time, tip. If they can't afford to tip, then don't use DoorDash. DoorDash is a luxury service. It is not for people who can't afford it. Number 4, don't worry about your acceptance rate. That ties into the last step. Whenever you first start, especially, you're going to be very worried, oh, I want to keep my acceptance rate up and really high. And the DoorDash, they really want you out there delivering. They don't care about what you make. They don't care at all. So they're going to keep enticing you with, hey, stay above 50%, stay above 70%. Yeah, if you get up high, 50, especially 70%, you may get a little bit better orders, but you're still going to get trash orders. You got to take those to get really high in your acceptance rate. And when you get to 50 or especially 70%, in most markets, not all, you're going to take so many junk orders that you're going to end up not making the kind of money you would if you didn't accept those orders. So some people want to get the top dasher status, which is 70% or higher, 100 deliveries a month, 200 lifetime deliveries. Some markets that may work. If you're in a really wealthy area, people tip really well, and you constantly have orders, you can do that. But in most markets, you don't want to worry about being a top dasher. If you get it, whatever, but don't let that get to you. Turn down junk orders. Number 5, set $1 per mile or kilometer, whatever you use, minimum. I try to stay in my market at $1 per mile. Now, many people stick to 2. And where I live, and I mostly dash here in my small, more rural area close to home, I have to stay more around 1 mile. $2 a mile, which is really good, is not realistic, and I'm just not going to be able to accept any orders. So make sure you set a goal of, for instance, $1 to $2 a mile. You probably don't want to go under 1, but hey, whatever works for you. If you have an electric car, maybe you can go 50 cents. You know, gas costs, and also remember to take into account for your maintenance on your car, oil changes, tires. That's going to be really important. How much the wear and tear on your vehicle. So be very mindful of those things. So set a goal of $1 per mile, $2 per mile, and also make sure that you remember round trip, because the app is going to show you the distance from where you're located to the store or restaurant, and then to the customer. And it's going to be pretty accurate on that, but it's not going to tell you how far, of course, it is back to where you want to park your car and wait for orders, whether it's home or in a hot zone. And that's generally going to be a round trip you want to calculate. Now, some people you may deliver to an area, you deliver to a customer, and there's some other restaurants right there, you can stay there, then that's not so bad. But make sure you account for the round trip. So if I get a $10 order to deliver 10 miles out of town, I got to come back into my hometown. That's 20 miles, and I ended up only at 50 cents a mile. That's generally not going to be something I would want to take. So you have to keep that in mind. And number 6, get yourself a dash cam. A dash cam like something that I have here. This is a Surfola SD710. I have several dash cams in our cars, and I have a Surfola touchscreen GPS one in my main vehicle I use for door dashing. But you don't need to spend as much. That one costs over $100. You can get them for, the one I have in our other vehicle is about 30 bucks. You just need some proof. Cover yourself, because you're out making deliveries, you're increasing your chances of getting in an accident by a considerable amount. And you want to have proof to insurance. You get in an accident, someone hits you, someone bumps into you, and you know it wasn't your fault. You got the proof on camera, especially if it's in the front of your vehicle where most likely your dash cam will be located, that you can provide to the police and most importantly your insurance to let them know it was not your fault. You just have to cover yourself right there. And also something you can just provide, you know, if DoorDash would, any reason they would step in and want to know what happened, you can provide that information from your dash cam. And some of these, and this is one you can see, has a rear camera. Mounted at, it's usually a 720p in the rear, 1080p, or sometimes 4K in the front. That rear camera, if someone rear ends you and you stop to make a turn, they rear end you, you've got that on your rear camera, and that's always going to be the driver behind you's fault. So it's very important that you put a dash cam in your car to be able to record all your driving. And again, one that's like the 4K one I have with GPS, that's really important, because the GPS will not only, it will embed it into the video. So not only record the video, it's going to show on a map using a GPS program on your PC where your car is located and the speed you're driving. In fact, it'll even detect the collision and move the file outside the folder so that it is not going to get overwritten, and you can, so you don't lose it, and can provide that to your insurance. You put your license plate, so it's got that as a watermark. That's all just superb information. You're not going to break the bank. Spend 50 bucks, get yourself one of these off Amazon, put it in your car, and you're covered. So those are the 6 things that I recommend every first-time DoorDasher should know about or do before you get started, and you'll save yourself a lot of hassle and you'll make more money. All right, guys, that wraps up this video. If you're new to Plex and Tech, please consider subscribing. While you're at it, click the bell. That way you're notified every time I do upload a new video. And as always, guys, have a great day.